Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Mero Fatemi. Getting into our final segment here of the show, we're going to take a look at the Orlando Magic taking on the Boston Celtics in the first round of the NBA playoffs. This is a playoff series that's been circled by a lot of people, not even in the Boston Celtics group, but in general. A lot of people around the world are I've seen a lot of news about the Orlando Magic possibly knocking off the Boston Celtics in the first round, especially after how they performed against the Atlanta Hawks. I could completely see it. I can completely understand it. I can get behind it. However, I said this right after the Orlando Magic took down the Hawks. I remember previewing this series because this was a series that a lot of people, if you don't know a lot about, if you haven't watched a lot of basketball this year or a lot of basketball in general over the last few years, you would say, what's so cool about the Orlando Magic? They're not that great of a team. They're one of those average teams, especially against Boston, the defending champs. There's no way that they can win. Completely understand it. Get behind it. No questions asked. Completely understand it. But this Orlando Magic's team is not based on offense. It's based on defense. We saw them putting a straight jacket on Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Even though Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum did not shoot the ball well, some of that has to do with them. They did only, I believe Jayson Tatum only had less than 20 points. Jaylen Brown had less than 15 points. Overall, it was just not a great performance from the Celtics, a star duo that they have there. But yeah, this just speaks more volumes, I think, about this series is just going to come down to the defense of the Orlando Magic. We saw them clamp down. We saw them give the Celtics problems. The Magic held the lead going into halftime. I found the final box score. Tatum finishing with 17 points. Jaylen Brown with 16 points. Just not what we expect from a star duo, especially in wins for the Celtics. But that also speaks volumes about the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic are built on really two players. Number one, really one, you can say two. One in Paolo Banchero, absolutely the star player. I think it's his third year out of Duke, ever since being drafted in 2022. And then Franz Wagner, who's a borderline all-star right now, I believe he's been named to the all-star game. But this year, he's been a little bit on the cusp just because his shooting has fallen off a little bit. He hasn't had the best shooting season of his NBA career, but still finishing with 23 points in this one. Only 1 for 6 from 3-point range. Just not. This is the biggest problem. Outside of those two players, the third leading scorer on this team was Jonathan Isaac with 7 points. Once again, continuing to lament why shallow teams built by two star players and a bunch of role guys that they're not unreliable role guys. They just don't work on NBA teams anymore. It proved. I said it with the Lakers to start the show. I talked about it with the Clippers. I talked about it with the Bucks. I talked about why it's so important on the Pacers, and now I'm saying once again why it's not going to work with the Magic. Going up against a deep team like the Boston Celtics that can go 5 men deep, can all shoot the ball in the starting lineup. Have Peyton Pritchard as the 6th man of the year, which is crazy. Peyton Pritchard as a 6th man. A lot of teams would start Peyton Pritchard in their starting lineup as their point guard or their shooting guard. And the Celtics don't have him in either role because they have Derrick White and Drew Holiday sitting over there that are better than him. Flat out, Drew Holiday, that's a better defensive player, than they want to use him as a defensive lineup. And Derrick White, who's a better facilitator than Peyton Pritchard is overall. He's a better player than Peyton Pritchard. I don't think that's crazy to say. But, yeah, just a 5 men deep team with Al Horford coming off the bench. Horford plays in the starting lineup. Luke Cornett coming off the bench. Sam Hauser coming off the bench. They just have an incredibly deep team, and it's the reason why when Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown have a bad day, they don't have to worry about it because sometimes Derrick White pick up the slack, Drew Holiday picks up the slack, Peyton Pritchard picks up the slack. Usually it's very rare that both of them have bad days. Sometimes it's one and the other. One has a good one. One picks up the slack for the other when they're having a bad day. But yeah, this one just speaks volumes about the Celtics offense, the Magic defense being able to hold the Celtics to 103 points. That if you watch the game, it was just a defensive battle overall. The Magic are still very underrated as a defensive team. But I think this series is going to come down to the offense of the Magic. If they can get other guys going, if they can get Tavius Caldwell-Pope going, if they can get Cole Anthony, Anthony Black going, if they can shoot the ball like they did against the Atlanta Hawks in that playing game, if Cole Anthony can play similarly to the way he did in that game, Cole Anthony only finished shooting 1 for 3, only 3 shots, 1 3-pointer attempted. Anthony Black 1 for 4. You can't expect to win games shooting at that clip. It's just not going to work. It's flat out not going to work. It's just not going to work. Plain and simple. I don't even want to say it any other way because there's no other way to say it. If you're the Orlando Magic, you need to shoot the ball better overall. You need to be able to shoot the three. You need to be able. The three has to be your best friend. In general, if you're facing the Boston Celtics, be prepared to shoot threes. Because if you shoot twos, it's going to be a math problem. Celtics shoot a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes. If you don't shoot or if you don't make or attempt a lot of threes, you're going to be left in the dust. Threes are better than twos overall. And the way the Celtics shoot the three, you rarely catch them missing from the 3-point line on a bad day overall as a team. Usually either one of them is hot, and that's enough to spark the offense, enough to shut down either your run or spark a run of their own. That's the game that the Celtics play with, and you have to really beat them at their own game to have a chance to beat them, period. That's just my take on the Celtics right now and the Orlando Magic. Going into a little nugget of information that I haven't talked about very much so far, Jayson Tatum's injury. He had a little bit of a scary fall. The player that fouled him got called for a flagrant foul on the dunk attempt. Tatum trying to catch his fall, braced himself with his wrist, all the weight landed on his wrist, and you could see the discomfort around it all over his face. I believe the player was Tavius Caldwell-Pope, being called for a flagrant foul on that play. And it's been noise around the league that Jayson Tatum's it was just uncalled for overall. That's the only way to slice it. That's the only way I'm going to say it. But how is Jayson Tatum going to be able to respond to that is the question. We saw him for the following minutes after that before taking out the starters. They let Jayson Tatum shoot free throws. He missed both free throws. He took, I think, at least one, if not 2 threes. I know he airballed 1 3. He shot it and just completely airballed it. Not even a step back, just a straight on 3 with all his momentum, leaning forward, and absolutely bricked it. It's his shooting hand. It is his shooting wrist, so it's going to impact him in the series. Will it be enough to deter the Celtics? I don't think so. I think this series, regardless of Tatum's injury or not, it was going 6 games, and I still stand by that. I think the Celtics may lose tonight against the Magic. I would not be shocked if they lost game 2. I expect Jayson Tatum to probably, if you're smart, if you're Jayson Tatum, you sit out game 2. And you come back full-fledged in game 3 and game 4, a little bit healthier. But we all know the same Jayson Tatum that I do. He does not sit out playoff games. I don't think he sat out a single playoff game in his NBA career. He hasn't missed any playoffs, period. It's just going to be really interesting to see how Jayson Tatum is going to be able to respond to this on an offensive end. He might become more of a facilitator. I would not be shocked if they start playing through Jayson Tatum instead of having him shoot the ball, being able to facilitate, being similar to how Tyrese Halliburton plays. He could play at that level. But, yeah, Jayson Tatum going to have a splint on his right hand for at least about a week or 2, I'd expect. They're not going to fully disclose what's wrong with his wrist just because, obviously, other teams scheme for this. They probably already are scheming for it, taking wild guesses. But in the state of the NBA today, nobody discloses their true injury reports, and that's just the case of the NBA these days. Jayson Tatum is going to do the same, and he's going to have a splint on his wrist. It's just going to be really interesting to see how he's able to play offensively with that splint. I don't think it's going to bother him in the first round. It might bother him in the second round, whether they play the New York Knicks or the Detroit Pistons if they win this series. Even then, though, I still wouldn't say so, just because we'll get into the second round playoff predictions and what I think about those series at a later date after this first round. But for now, yeah, Boston Celtics and Orlando Magic kicking off at, I believe, 7:30 this evening. I'm going to quote that. Oh, they don't even play tonight. They play tomorrow. Doesn't matter. Jayson Tatum will probably have more of an update on his wrist tomorrow when these two teams square off at 7 p.m. But tonight, that'll be the tonight the three games that we have tonight is Bucks Pacers at 7 Eastern, Grizzlies Thunder at 7:30, and then Timberwolves Lakers at 10 p.m. These are all Eastern times. Please check your local listings based on your time zone. But that's going to be it for me today. It was another unbelievable show. Thank you guys again for sticking around. I hope you guys enjoyed. Overall, we have a great slate of NBA games, NBA playoff series going on right now. I love to talk about it. I hope you guys also love hearing about it, love talking about it in general. Just love watching it as much as I am. These NBA playoffs. I seriously think they're the best in years that we've seen. Honestly, these are the best playoffs I've seen in a long time, at least the best since the bubble series in 2020. But thank you guys for tuning in to the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. Whether it's positive, whether it's negative, regardless, just please leave a review, what you guys think, what we can improve upon, what you guys are doing well with. You guys are a big influence on our show and what we do here at the GSMC Sports Network, so your input is greatly appreciated overall. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again for another great show. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your days. We have another NBA slate, unbelievable NBA slate lined up for you guys tonight. Can the Lakers win Game 2 tonight? Can the Bucks even up this series in Game 2 tonight? Can the Grizzlies make amends? We didn't talk about it too much, but can the Grizzlies make amends for their Game 1 abysmal performance against the Oklahoma City Thunder? We're going to find out tonight, and I can't wait to talk about it more tomorrow. This is Marif Temi, the host of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, signing off. Bye-bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to